going on, everybody? Welcome back to Goat Talk. We got a very special episode tonight as we have special guest, stand-up comedian Tom McGuire.
My man.
Tom, thank you for coming on, man.
Nah, dude, thank you for having me. I had to. You came to my show.
I know.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about that for a second.
That's how I got you on. It was part of the plan.
I think every single time that you have come up and we're like, oh, I want to go to a show. Every single time I am like, bro, I need to go. And what does this kid do? He fucking goes without me.
Do you know what's funny, dude? Is I was thinking to myself.
He goes without me.
I was like, you know what? I was like, I should probably text. I was like, I have to text TT. Because I know, like, he'll text, like, a whole group of people. And I was like, I should probably text David, too. But I was like, there's no shot TT won't tell
Leave
David.
Justin out of
They
this.
didn't tell me.
Thanksgiving Eve, I said to you, I was like, oh, let me know when your next show
Yeah.
is.
Well, I think 30 people probably asked him that.
Well,
on
that's the thing. Is, like,
Thanksgiving Eve.
that's another thing. Is, like, you don't even know how many people I see. Like, if I haven't seen someone in a while and I see them, it's like, oh, you got to fucking... You know how many people DM me today when I posted that clip? People are like, oh, you got to let me know when a show is, man. Dude, I had a kid that I graduated with. I'm not going to name drop him. But I wake up in the morning, I have a text from this kid. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Text him. He's like, dude, like, I got to know when, like, your next show is or whatever. It was that he texted me at, like, 3 o'clock in the morning, right? I later see on Snap stories that he was out drinking all night. So he drunk texted me. Like, he drunk texted me asking for a show. So I texted him back. I texted him the ticket link for the show that you came to.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I have a show this Friday. I was like, just put my name down, say you're coming to see me or whatever. No answer. Didn't come to the show. It's like half the people that say that, it's like, yeah, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean?
They're just putting on a face when they see us.
You start putting it on your Instagram. Be like, hey, show this night. And then
So-
whoever comes.
Yeah.
So Tyler hit you up to go to
TT
that?
hit me up, yeah.
Okay.
And you still didn't hit me up?
I don't know why.
TT hit me up to go, and I said, I'm down.
I'm sorry. David, I should have texted you too.
Nah, your logic was it was sound. I would expect, because I've talked about it with TT too, so I would expect one of them to be like, oh, why don't we invite David?
No.
But now I got to go without them by myself.
Friends, man. Fake friends.
We'll just go together.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll probably see us there.
Call it a day.
At first,
We're becoming regulars.
At first, like you and Tyler put on your story. I'm like, oh, maybe they're there with Britt and Gab.
Yeah.
And then,
No, they were both working.
Yo, see, that's
what are
I
you there,
also
Spencer?
Spencer and Steven.
Yeah, I saw you there. And Steven.
I
So
was
they,
genuinely surprised. Do you know I forgot his name? I just kept calling him Tatoma. I was like, I know it's not James because that's the one that's like a year older than me. But I was like, but I played baseball with Steven. But his fucking name, I almost called him like Riley. I think it was. I kept thinking Ryan. Like his name just kept slipping my mind.
wow.
But like, basically, like, what made you get into stand-up? How did this all start?
So all right. So this is always like a dicey question. So I took public speaking in college.
Yeah.
I had to give a speech. So, all right. So in the beginning of the semester, right, teacher like sits us all down and he's like, look, you guys have to give like 3 speeches, 1 final. He was like, the way I do it is there's like 3 different types of speeches. And he was like, everyone will pick a state out of a hat. And he was like, and then you will talk about that state for the semester. So I remember there was a kid who went to Comswag who graduated with me, who was sitting next to me. He pulled South Dakota.
Oof.
And I remember making fun of him. And then, dude, I go up there and I pulled North Dakota. Like,
Even worse?
even worse. South Dakota has like what is the 4 presidents? What is that called?
Oh, Mount Rushmore.
Rushmore.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, so dude, I mean, he could talk about that like nonstop. I had nothing. Like, I remember I had like the most golf courses per capita, or some shit like that. Like, it was like
That's
nothing.
good. We should go there.
Nothing. You should honestly. It was probably beautiful courses, but so now the final was like the English guy who was teaching the course was like also the head of the English department at Suffolk. So what he did was like if you were taking an English course and you needed extra credit, he was like, come to my public speaking like final. He was like, I need to pack out the auditorium. So when I gave the speech, it was like 300 people.
Oh, shit.
God.
So
On North Dakota.
on North Dakota. So and then also like I was going last, and I was like, oh, like they're gonna be tired, like they're not gonna want to hear this. I was like, let me just like throw a joke in there.
Yeah.
And just like see how it goes. So I opened up with a joke and it got like a big laugh. And I was like genuinely taken back. And then I was like, shit, man, I gotta fuck with that. It's a good feeling.
Do you remember what the joke was?
I just had a joke about, well, because I was playing basketball at Suffolk,
Okay.
I had to go late because I had like practice. So I remember being like all sweaty and like a shirt and tie,
Yeah.
which was gross. But then like my joke was, I said something like, guys, like I have good news for like everyone that's here. Like I'm the last speech of the night. Like let's wrap this up and get the hell out of here. Like something stupid like that.
Okay.
Just a throwaway joke, but everyone was so fed up with being there that like it killed. Like it absolutely like fucking murdered. And then after that, by then like I had hated playing college. I hated college basketball.
Yeah.
Like it's like a
surprising to me.
Yeah, no, I mean like dude, it's just like you get to the point where you're like you just realize like your ceiling with something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a 5'11" white kid.
You
know, like I was like, if I even want to like compete, here was like the epiphany moment. Was we went out like as a team on like a Friday night. We went out like drinking and shit, and then on Saturday we had practice in the morning, and I was like so hungover and like just exhausted, and like the kids on my team were like in layup lines like throwing down dunks. And I was like, dude, if I even want to compete with these kids, like I have to be like top of the line nutrition, like condition, my skills have to be sharp. I was like, this is so not worth it. Like, and then like I knew like that was like my like I've never regretted quitting basketball ever. Like I gave it like everything.
Okay.
And like took it to like its like max for me.
Yeah.
And like there's never been a day where I was like, oh, what if? Like I know what if. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it was just never worth it for me.
Damn.
Wow.
But yeah, but that was also the same time I was taking public speaking.
Yeah.
And then like I had started to just like watch comedy and just like fell in love with it, and I was like, yeah, I would like to do this.
And what were your next steps after that? So after that, like you found out like, damn, I could do this. What were your next steps to maybe getting your first show or
Yeah, so like I mean like if I were to ask you, how would you start stand up? How would you do it?
start practicing stand up?
Well, no, but like to do stand up, like you need an audience. Like it's not something like you can just like practice
on
in
your
mirror.
dogs or something.
Yeah. So like I just signed up and I took a comedy class.
Oh, okay.
At Governor's Comedy Club.
Okay.
So I took that. It was like $270. And then, dude, I remember the day of the class. Well, I'll tell you this. Was like I was in the closet about it. Like I signed up for the class and like went to the first two classes and like didn't tell my brother or my mom or anything. And then like I just felt bad lying about it. So my mom was like, "Where are you going? Mondays at 7." I was like, "I'm taking a comedy class." And she was like, "What?" Like she laughed at me. Like, but that's the thing is like when you start something new, like no one else can see it.
Nobody ever expects it.
Everyone thinks like you're an idiot until like you eventually do good at it, and then they're all like, "Oh, that's dope."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like
drunk texting you at 3.
And you got and you got 2018 grads hitting you up on your text. So I did that, took the class, and then they had like a big graduation show, which like it's sold out. Like the club that you just came to, like that shit was sold out.
So what's like graduation? Like you just perform?
Yeah, they basically set up like two. Actually, the show that you came to, like those comics before me, were students that took the class. That was their graduation show.
All of them?
All of them. And
really?
I mean, like,
wow.
I mean, you saw like a couple of them where like some of them are like brutal to watch.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's because it's their
that would be me up there.
That's because like it's like it could literally be their first time on stage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that's always tough to watch those shows sometimes. Like you feel bad because it's like, oh, this kid just put in like 12 weeks worth of work.
Yeah. So like I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So like all right, that makes sense now.
And then like I took the class with that guy that was like hosting it.
Okay.
So then that's why like I've stayed in like touch with him and like we're close, and he's been one of like the best people I know in comedy. So he hooked me up and I was like, I need to run like my half hour. He was like, you can headline one of my shows. So that's how I got that.
Yeah,
that's
that was
awesome.
sick. That was great.
Wow.
Wow, I didn't know
So-
that. So like all of them were newbies basically.
Yeah, like all of them have probably been on stage like definitely like less than 10 times. That the one kid, the kid Nick, who's actually really funny. The kid that had the
19-year-old.
Yeah, he had
was
the joke.
funny.
He's funny as fuck.
He was good.
He had the joke. It was like, oh, don't worry, champ. Like girls can't measure.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
he was good. He was actually really good. He was funny.
So this last show that Joey went to, you did a half hour?
So going into it, it's like the longest set I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, I need to hit 30 minutes. Like that's where like I need to be at right now. And I ended up doing 38, which is a good thing that like I overshot it. But like that also means there's like a lot of fat on my jokes that need to be cut off. Like the setups can be quicker. Like the way stand-up works is like the longer a setup to a joke is, like the harder you can die in that joke. Like if I like tell you a story for like a minute and you're like, where is this going? And then I throw you with the punchline, and it doesn't get a
And it
laugh.
bombs.
You're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
But it
I-
didn't seem like you did that. Like all of yours were like pretty boom boom. Like you didn't really drag anything along. So like 38 minutes, like that was good because everybody was nonstop laughing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like just like me myself, I know where like it could be like even tighter.
Yeah.
Like there was some stuff that I did like I've only done like 2 or 3 times. Like it's
Mhm.
still new. Like it still doesn't even have like cement wording.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's another thing is like I don't write my jokes out.
You just go off
That was
top of your
gonna be my
head.
Next question.
So I don't like actually write out like word for word. And like the reason I don't do that is because like if you look at a guy like Seinfeld, like his comedy is very like every word matters. If you take one word out of his joke, the
Yeah.
joke won't work.
Yeah.
Which is like that's extremely efficient, but it's not like as conversational.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I love Seinfeld. It's just like it's not my style
Yeah.
of comedy. Like I like his style, but it's just not how I perform.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like a guy like Bill Burr, he doesn't actually fully write out his stuff because it's sort of like a rant or like a
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like it's a different flow.
I was gonna say
know
like
what I mean?
the 2 clips that you have on your YouTube, the same exact bit or the same exact joke, the one about going to the doctor or whatever, but completely different at the same time because you switch up some of the things
Yeah.
you talk about, you switch up your wording, and I've watched both of them plenty of times and I
Yeah.
fucking crack up at both of them. So
Yeah.
Now,
that's
do
it.
you like rewatch your shows and like maybe like not take notes, sit there and take notes, but do you rewatch your shows and maybe like recycle jokes that like did well or cut out jokes that didn't do well? Like,
Yeah, so like I'll always listen to my set. I might not necessarily watch the video,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'll always listen to the audio. Unless like I did like all jokes that like that I consider to be like done. Like the
Yeah.
joke I do about going to the doctor, like
Mhm.
that joke is done. Like I don't really need to do any work to that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I think it's like in its like purest form.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's other jokes where I'm like, oh, there's still like other words. Like I have a joke about the joke I had about my mom saying I have to move out when I turn 25.
Yeah. You told.
Oh,
You're
I'm
looking
asking
at
you,
me.
like, you came to the
I
show.
wasn't there, but
I forgot.
yeah, he wasn't.
I was,
yeah,
I was
sorry.
just, I was
He
gonna
was
go
cut
along
out
with
of the
it.
inner
Yeah.
circle, man.
So yeah, so I had a joke about like you know that my mom was gonna like there's no way she can kick me out because if she said like my stuff would end up on the lawn, and I said like how am I supposed to believe there's gonna be like an entire race car bed on my front lawn?
Yeah.
Like originally the line was just bed, and that line
okay.
is like it's true, but it's
Yeah.
not necessarily funny.
Yeah,
Race
yeah.
car bed makes it funny.
Yeah. That was.
So like there's
bad.
always like little words where it's like and a comedian gave me that. That's a good thing
Okay.
about like when a comic listens to your set because
Mhm.
sometimes like you're so invested in like the storyline or like the plot that you miss like those little quick like hitting jokes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like it's nice to have like friends in comedy that are good at it that will be like you have a word that you can change and it'll definitely get a laugh and you're like fucking give it to me, you know?
Yeah. So like, you don't write out your jokes. So like, how do you like come up with them? How do you memorize all these jokes if you're not writing them out?
So all my stuff is like in my notes
Okay.
with like bullet points.
So it's not like a fully written out joke, but it's like, oh, blah
Yeah,
blah
like,
blah.
like
Like-
put it this way, like remember like in middle school when they'd make you do like the outline for an essay?
yeah, yeah. yeah.
Okay.
That's my joke.
okay.
I don't there's people that write the essay and there's
Yeah.
people that just write the outline.
Yeah.
I'm an outline guy.
Yeah.
So like I just do like bullet points. I might write out like a full punchline. Like if I know like I don't know. I can't think of a punchline right now, but if I have like an exact quote, I'll be like I'll write that out and I'll be like the setup won't necessarily be like
Yeah.
written out.
Written like in stone. All right. So you said you were shooting for 30 minutes. You got 38 out of it. How much time do you put in to get to that point? So like how many hours a week would you say you spend on writing these jokes, perfecting them?
So the all right, so this is like different too. Is like the first. So when I met with like the guy that's managing me, when I met with him in September, he was like, "How much material do you have?" And I was like, "I have like 15," which was a lie. I had like 11. I had like 11 or 12 minutes, but I just told him 15 because it was like I knew like there's just ways to make 15 happen, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like I was never comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then he was like, in like a kind way, he was like, I can't really like market you or like do much with you like until you have like 30 minutes. So from
Wow.
September, like late September till Friday, I wrote like 18 minutes worth of stand up, which was like my mind was just like in overdrive.
Yeah.
Like it was just nonstop thinking of like I was like physically tired by the end of every day, like just thinking of like jokes and like pulling from like experiences and shit like that. Like, like I don't want to write another joke right now for like another month. Either. I just want to like refine the stuff that I have and then worry about like new material. And plus, like I'm 2 years in, like 30 minutes is like more than enough. You know what I mean?
And do you ever still like wing it on stage? Like, let's say something like just off pattern. Like you have your jokes written down, like your outline. Let's say you just think of something else on the spot. Do you ever just throw it in sometimes, or?
Yeah, like a lot of times you'll feel better about your set if you do that.
Yeah.
Like I remember one time, like I drove out to a show, and I just like got in my head, and I was like, there was like a couple comedians there where I was like, oh, like I want to do like good in front of these guys.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, like they're like well known on the scene, and I want to have a good set.
Yeah.
And like going there, like I had shit that I wanted to work on, and then I saw them. I was like, oh, I'll just do like my A-level stuff.
Oh. Okay.
And then it ended up bombing, just because like the intention wasn't pure, and I didn't deliver it the same. And then I just drove home like in silence. Like I can't believe I just wasted a set trying to impress people. Like who the fuck cares?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it only matters. Comedy really is one of those things where it's like you're never actually competing with anybody, although people think you like are.
Yeah.
And that's like the comedians that, from what I think, the comedians that do well are the ones that are just like always like networking and positive and bring like positive energy. The guys that bring negative energy and they're like, oh, like I know about like this producer, but I'm not going to tell him because I don't want him to work. It's like you're just actually hindering yourself because now you're shrinking your network.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
So now, like, I didn't even realize you're 2 years in. Like, that's actually crazy. I didn't think you were that far in. But, like, so now, in these 2 years, like, what's been your biggest challenge? Besides, going that extra, like, so you had to be 30 minutes, but you got 38. Besides, like, time, what do you think's been your biggest challenge to, like, I guess you could say, like, officially, like, make it?
Yeah, I mean, like, the first year, like, I mean, everyone sucks. Like, it's brutal. Like, I tried on, like, if my earliest stand-up tapes got leaked, I'd want to kill myself. Like, it's like,
oh my god,
you try on like so many personas, just because like I tried being like I tried doing like angry material, which like I'm not even an angry guy, Joe. Look, even when I just said that, you were like angry. Like I'm not an angry person, but I tried it. I tried like fucking. I don't even know, man. I mean, you try so many shit, like being like borderline like offensive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like also not me, really. You know?
Yeah.
So the absolute hardest part of stand-up, and like this is the part that like a lot of comedians like don't figure out, I feel like, is like you have to find out like who you are as a person. I know it sounds corny as fuck.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
But it's very true. And like one of the, like this woman that was mentoring me, this woman, her name is Gladys Simon. She runs like an open mic at one of the clubs in the city. And she was telling me, she was like, I can tell like you're not being yourself on stage. She was like, go home and watch videos of yourself when you were like 3, 4, 5 years old. Because it's the only time in your life you're effortlessly being you. After that, like life is going to like like shit's gonna happen to you, like you know your uncle might fucking molest you, and now you have like now you have like a defensive mechanism. That's a pretty crude example. You know what I mean? But like now, like oh, you're like shy in public. But, like really, you're not shy in public. It's just like you just never worked on that. So like until like you actually figure out like like yourself, you'll never actually like be good at stand up.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's like all right. So like one of the biggest things that like I deal with now is like on like the because like I'm still like technically like very 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 like fresh out of like the amateur scene and onto like the club scene, I guess you would say. There's like amateur comics who have been doing it like 4, 5, 6 years, and they're like, oh, Tom's been doing it too, and like he gets all this work and shit. But I'm like, yeah, but like I'm also like putting out good stuff. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. Like comedy doesn't care how long you've been doing it.
Yeah, and you're putting in the work to get to where you were. So like if they're lackadaisically going along and they're 4 or 5 years in, they're like, oh, why is Tom getting all this shit? You're like, because I'm working my ass off.
Yeah.
You know?
So you would say you're ahead of the comedy game.
Where you're at
for
right 2 years in, I'm ahead of the curve. Yeah.
Wow, that's actually crazy.
So what do you think your next step is? Like, is there any big things coming or?
I mean, like, it's just about, like, I'm also a believer. Like, people are also, like, always focused on, like, opportunities. Like, oh, I need to do, like, this show. I need to get in at this club. I need to be on this showcase. It's like, if you just get funnier, everything else is going to follow.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if Dave Chappelle was, like, came from, like, another planet, right? And you just put him in the New York comedy scene, and he just went to an open mic with the skill set he has right now, I guarantee you he'd eventually work himself out of the open mic scene because he'd be a killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle couldn't have went unknown forever.
That's true.
Someone, even if he restarted today, give him a month, and people are going to know who he is because he's that funny.
Yeah.
So if just, like, people ask me, like, oh, like, how do you get all, like, these, like the initial part of, like, being in at a club is, like, hosting. People will be like, oh, how do you, like, host at this club? And it's like, I honestly, like, I just got funnier. That's it. I got funnier. People saw me, and shit happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like going on Shark Tank without a fucking product. It's exactly what. And then it's like, well, now you have a product. It's like, all right, well, do you have any sales?
Yeah.
Do people buy your shit, or are you just here on Shark Tank for some odd reason?
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of people
Just
do.
like the show.
Yeah. So, like, that's, like, my, like, pet peeve is the people that are like, oh, like, I don't have, if I had that, I'd be here. And it's like, but if you just got better jokes, everything else would follow.
Yeah. So now, like, again, like, Justin kind of based off him, like, bigger plans, anything. So, like, you had a podcast, but it seems like you, like, slowed down. Like that shit was funny. Why'd you slow down? Like,
I
that
just
was
didn't.
funny.
I didn't. One, I was doing it solo. I was doing it
Yeah.
solo.
Solo pods can be tough, man.
Well, no. So I was doing it solo. Yeah, for those of you that can't see, my brother's looking at me like, dude, come on, I would talk. I know. But then I also was thinking, like, long term, like, he's gonna go away to school, and then what happens, like, if I get this thing rolling? Like, I went into the podcast really, like, without a plan, and then was looking, like, I wanted to do the podcast to put out clips on social media.
Okay.
I wasn't doing a podcast because I wanted to, like, reach people.
Yeah.
Which, like, so, like, my intention wasn't pure.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like, here's another example. Like, and that's why, like, the podcast didn't work for me. Like, the intention wasn't pure. Whereas, like, there's people that also do stand-up where it's like, are you just feeling a void in your life? Like, you have a parent that doesn't love you. I'm serious. You don't have, like, a lot of friends. Like, you shouldn't be doing stand-up. You should be in therapy. Like, in all seriousness. Like, you know, like, the laughs, it's like a fucking Band-Aid on a flat tire. It really is. It's like, so it's like you have to be doing things for the right reason. I love doing stand-up because I love, like, making people laugh and people coming up to me after a show and being like, you don't know how bad I needed that.
Yeah.
Like, life has sucked for me recently. Like, thank you. Like, that's, like, what I believe, like, my purpose here is to, like, do that for people.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't think you could have gotten that at, like, the podcast?
No.
Really?
No, just because, like, it wasn't, like, I don't know. One day down the road, I'll revisit it for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, right now, it just, like, isn't, like, my focus.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to put out clips, just, all right, record my stand-up, fucking clip it like I did today, and put it on social media. I don't need a podcast to do that.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean?
That clip today's blowing up right now.
So it's not blowing up.
I haven't gone on social media at all besides on Twitter, like, when we got here, so I didn't even see it yet. So I'm excited
really?
to watch it after.
It's from the show you didn't come to.
Yeah.
So
Well, I didn't get invited to it, so
Yeah.
after I poured my heart out to you on Thanksgiving
I
Eve.
know.
Yeah,
I was
that's what he's
sober,
talking
okay.
about. Yeah.
I was.
That's
I
what
was.
he's talking about.
No, I had we were online for an hour and a half before that, and I had, like, maybe half a drink in me at that point. I was sober. I'd say it now too.
Yeah.
24,000 views.
Is he really?
Doing pretty good.
Yo, look at your boy.
What you post on Instagram?
Yeah, it's sucking ass on TikTok.
TikTok's
TikTok?
weird,
TikTok's
man.
hard, dude. I hate TikTok.
Because that's what we do. We do, like, TikTok or YouTube Shorts.
Mm-hmm.
So many. We'll get thousands of views on a YouTube Short, and then you go to that same clip on TikTok.
Yeah.
100.
Dude, no, literally, bro. I had it, like, so I had a theory on why it didn't do well on TikTok, so I re-edited it and then I just posted it again like an hour ago. I don't even know. I could have 1 million views right now, for all I know. Or I could have 100 again. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I was like, oh, this is doing well on Instagram. Like, let me put this on TikTok. And it's like, there's, like, no rhyme or reason to that app.
No, it's really weird.
It's-
You just
it's
you have to hit the
Yeah,
algorithm.
dude, it's
like
so strange.
it's like when Brandon posted his first TikTok
Yeah,
of
it blew
some
up.
of his clips from his stream when he's playing COD. His first one blew up. He got like 100,000 views on it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and
More
he
than
just
that.
hit the algo, and then the ones after that, they're all getting. He had like 13 followers, but he was getting 100,000 views on that, and everyone after it was getting like a couple thousand views too. It's really just about hitting an algorithm. It's
Yeah.
so.
I don't know, man.
It's like if you post it at this minute, maybe it hits. If you post it at that
You ever
minute,
post a video and then you look back an hour later, it's at 0? Like literally, it's at 0, and you're like, "What the
honestly,
fuck?"
I
Like,
think-
not
I
one
think
person?
The lowest you'll hit is like 2.
I have
Bro,
no
I don't
friends.
think
I've
ever
I've
seen
literally
0.
had 0 for like a day, for like a whole day. I've had
On
0.
what?
Like, this has to be
On
wrong.
TikTok.
On TikTok.
I
On
think
TikTok,
like that's
bro.
impossible though, because like I'll post it and then like I'll go on my personal account to make sure we're at 1.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
yeah,
think
see, I
it's-
wouldn't
Wait,
do
so
that. I would-
his
I would
is
let it.
like
I would let it
0.
rot on its own.
You're like, this thing's gonna get a view before I go look at it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like even like my girlfriend is a singer, and like she has like, I think she has like 80,000 on Instagram,
Damn,
and then on TikTok like nothing.
it's crazy.
Like
That's
there's
the
just
worst.
no like.
It's weird
it's so weird.
if you blow up on TikTok, you get those followers jumping over to Instagram.
Yeah,
or
but it's not
whatever,
the
but
other
it's
way
not the
around.
other way around
Nah,
because
yeah.
TikTok is more of a kid app, even though like there's a bunch of adults that use it. Obviously, like you go through your For You page, there's probably half adults, half fucking 16-year-olds, right? And then Instagram, I would say is more of a mature app than
Yeah, yeah.
TikTok is. So you don't get those Instagram crowds coming over to TikTok, but you will get those 16-year-olds who are on Instagram too. They're like, oh, I already have an Instagram, I'm gonna follow them. But these people that don't have a TikTok, they're gonna be like, I'm gonna make a TikTok and
Yeah.
follow them, you know? So
I feel like TikTok, like I don't know, Instagram's definitely more popular. I think YouTube Shorts are gonna destroy
yeah,
TikTok
YouTube
shortly.
Shorts are.
That's what like
But,
Mr. Beast is saying.
I
Yeah.
know, dude,
Saw
he's
that
so
shit?
smart.
He's a
So
genius, man.
smart. But I think like TikTok kind of like developed more into like a dancing app
Yeah.
to where
I mean,
that's
it
like
did.
what people are kind of expecting to see now, and I think that's
Mm-hmm.
ruining a lot of other people's content and everything.
I agree with
That's
you.
why I
actually.
think YouTube Shorts are gonna.
Like, you know how many times, like, on my For You page, it's just like a girl to a song?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just like, and then it's just like next video. It's like,
And it's like
and it has like a
500,000.
million views.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck?
Literally.
You're like, I edited for 2 hours. And this chick just put on makeup and a bikini, and she has like millions of views. You're like, this is disheartening, is what it is.
Maybe I got an idea for our next episode, man.
Yeah. But then if that girl went on Instagram and put that shit up, people are like, the fuck, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's what I'm
What are
saying.
you
Yeah,
doing?
exactly. Or even if you put that on a YouTube channel, it'd be like, what the fuck am I watching right
yeah.
now?
On
It's TikTok. It's
like,
like, all right, I'm on TikTok. I'm expected to see dancing.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what I think you should do? You should make an OnlyFans.
I should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sell your body, and then everybody will come over to your.
Maybe. Perhaps.
It's just an easier way, you know, because people
Feetpics.com.
Yeah.
Feet Finder.
Feet Finder.
Yeah, nah.
I use.
You sounded very confident that's a real
I've
thing.
heard it too many times.
No,
I want to.
dude,
don't
that's
you guys
so weird that you
thi-
said that.
think
Feet
about
Finder
doing it?
is
He
a
said
real
that, bro,
thing.
not me.
Feet Finder is a real thing.
I know. Don't you think about doing it?
No,
Bro,
Diana
if
tried
you-
it, man.
If you
Yeah.
put your feet on there, imagine people just start paying for your feet, and now you're making fucking thousands of dollars off your feet. Like, who cares? Who gives a fuck?
I would, dude. I would.
Their
do that.
feet.
Feet? Are you kidding me? Like,
I mean, dude, I
Would
got
you
5
judge
big
me?
feet, I'm a
Would
man.
you? Would you?
Like,
Yeah, exactly, bro. I don't even like my own feet.
Would
I don't think
you-
Other
Yeah.
people are gonna
Would
like
you
my feet.
judge me if like I was making $10,000 a month off
I would
people?
applaud you.
I would say good for you. You're fucking weird.
do you want me to?
Why? I'm just posting a picture of my foot. The other people are weird, not me.
Yeah, the other people.
I mean, yeah, like
he's
like I
making
said, I would
bread
say
off of selling
like yeah,
his
exactly.
feet.
Like I said, good for you. You're making that money. It's just I don't know. That's weird. I fucking despise feet.
I mean, I'm
You
not.
can,
A,
if
not a
it's your
foot guy.
hands, okay.
I'm
my
not.
I just
girlfriend is a
I
bunion.
despise
if I had
fucking
if I had a foot fetish, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be with her if I had a foot fetish. She
Why-
has
why are,
something
like-
the size of Mount Everest on the side of her foot.
Like, why is this all like for feet, but you can't find like hand? Like people, why can't I
People-
sell
not
a
a
picture
lot-
of my fucking hand?
Not as many
I'm
people
gonna
have a
get killed
fetish
for
of
that. hands
hands as they do feet for some. I don't have a foot
You-
fetish,
you
so I
use
don't
your
know,
hands more
man.
than your feet.
I couldn't tell you.
More popular.
I don't
Doesn't
know.
make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me either. It's just a thing.
I don't know, man.
I think.
Big D Heller on
is
Feet
next.
Finder.
Yeah.
I'll support. Don't worry.
Nah, you
Feet Heller.
you don't have to. I'll send you them for free. Don't worry. You don't gotta buy it.
All of our subscribers get free feet pics from Dave.
That's our next giveaway, by the way.
Feet
Just a bunch
pics.
of David Heller feet.
Since I know, going to your last show, you were saying how you got a manager and everything, and he represents a couple big names. how did that even happen? Like, how did you get in contact with him? How did you end up signing? And like, you're signed with him. Like, so like, what is like having a manager in stand up? Like, what does he do for you, kind of?
So, having like, this is a good question actually, because like it's still like so new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, so basically he's very good at what he does. Like he was
He's got
like
big names.
Yeah, he represents like Ray Romano,
Yeah.
Brian Regan,
I love Brian Regan.
Pete Davidson.
Wow.
Seriously?
That's
Yeah,
insane.
that's his. I think that's like the newest one.
Wow.
Pete Davidson,
That's actually crazy.
Anthony Rodia.
Okay.
He got, and fucking me. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make like
Here's my
doesn't make
list.
any sense.
And this guy.
it's almost like. So he was saying that he was like so like the mutual friend that we have that hooked it up. He was saying to him, he was like, you know, like I don't want to retire.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I love what I do. Like, is there anyone like young that I should know about? And he was like, there's this one kid. Like, if you
Wow.
want to check him out. So like, he sent him my joke about going to the doctor.
Yeah.
Then he watched it and loved it. And then we did lunch together at this steakhouse in Roslyn, which was dope. It's fucking sick. I mean, dude, it was like valet with like these sick cars and shit. It was so cool. It really was. It's like I just felt like so poor. I really did. I was like, yo, this is like a different way of life. But then it was wild because like I didn't know who like he was. Like the guy that arrested me, his name is Rory. So I didn't know who he was.
Okay.
So like I was just like doing my research. He was like an executive producer on Everybody Loves Raymond. Like this guy has like an Emmy.
Yeah. Like that's
like
a big
wild.
show.
Yeah, like, and it just like power of prayer, man. Honestly, like that's like the only thing I can attest it to is like just like praying for things to happen, and
Yeah.
it's like my faith. It's pretty much it.
So now, like, does he book shows for you? Does
No.
he, like, so like, what is he? What's his?
Okay, so basically,
Job.
like, it's still like I do all the work. It's
Okay.
not like he comes to me. He's like, "Here's a joke I want you to do." That would
Yeah,
never happen. As a
yeah.
comedian, like, you're responsible
Obviously,
for like,
yeah.
If you're a comedian and you like buy jokes, like, you're not my type of comedian. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's what makes comedy great. It's like it's from like your like authentic mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, like, he has like just like a huge. I mean, dude, he knows everybody. Like he has like a huge network of people. Like he can help like get me auditions to clubs. Like
Okay.
he's just like he didn't do like there's no contract. Like he doesn't do like contracts with any of his guys, which I liked.
Yeah.
It's like it's just like the honor system.
Okay.
Like say like a manager gets like 10% of your earnings.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing, and say I made like $1 million. There's nothing in writing that says I owe him $100,000.
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't want to rep you if you don't give me the $100,000.
Makes sense.
Does
Yeah.
make sense. I was like, that's like a fucking awesome way to do that. I was like, he just like everything he was saying. I just like felt very comfortable with him.
Mhm.
I could tell like he was being like I didn't have like a guard up when I was like in that meeting, which like I also didn't know what to expect. I didn't know like I had this one guy slide in my DMs one time, trying to
Drunk-ass
manage me.
DMs.
Dude, he was drunk when he called me too. So I did a show, and he was recording the set, right? And he follows me on Instagram and DMs me, and he's like, "Call me," with his phone number. So I call him, thinking like, "Oh, like I can get like my tape," because I had a good set. I was like, "I would like that tape."
Yeah.
Call this guy. He answers his phone. He's like, "Tommy." I'm like, hey, like, mind you, like, I never really like spoke to him or anything. Like, nice guy, but like, I never really spoke to him like
Yeah.
at the club or anything. And he was like, please excuse me, excuse me. He's like, I had 2 glasses of wine with dinner, and then he's like, I am so taken back by like this material. He's like, I want to manage you. and I was like, in my head, I'm like, you're not a manager, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that would be like if I just like saw like some elite baseball prospect at like some random field, and it was like, I want to coach you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like qualified to do that.
After a 12-pack while watching.
Yeah, so I was like, I was like, and then he was hitting me with like wild. He was like, I want you to go like copyright all your material, and I was like, what the like? It was weird. It was just like strange. And then like I ended up just never hearing from him. So even if I was like, dude, you can manage me, like he would have flaked on me anyway.
So he ghosted you.
He ghosted me. Yeah, I never got the tape. Never got the. He was like, I'll give you the tape for free.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, all right, thank you. Never sent me the tape. Never heard back from him. Just one of the strangest interactions I've heard
So he had,
Check
like,
if you're blocked.
one of those nights like you wake up the next day, like, what the hell happened?
Yeah,
You're going
no,
through
so
your
then-
phone,
so
like,
then, dude-
whose number is this?
Yeah. So now when I went out to lunch with the real manager, it wasn't anything like that. Like he was just like straight up. He was like, look, he was like, I can't do what you do, and he was like, and you can't do what I do. Meaning like, he's like, I can't do stand up comedy. He was like, I love it. Like I love stand up. He was like, but I don't have that thing that lets me create jokes and do it. He was like, and you don't have the thing where like he's I guess like everything else he takes care of. Like all like I mean if you just look at like his client list, I mean it
Yeah,
speaks
no,
for itself. Like
yeah.
the guy, he's just a winner. He's just a
Yeah,
winner
that's
at what he
crazy.
does.
Definitely a
Pretty
good guy
crazy.
to have on your side.
Imagine
Yeah.
if like the show was still going on, like Tom McGuire on an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like that's like I know right
that
now.
would be crazy.
Yeah, dude, like right now I think he's like producing Pete Davidson's next movie,
Oh, that's
Wow.
insane.
which should be coming out like
So we're gonna see you on a Taco Bell commercial
Nah.
soon.
Oh, yo, the AM Crunchwraps are fire. They are, dude.
Thank you.
Dude, no, they're
You know
so
what-
good.
You know what? I have to touch on this for a second because there's a lot of people
Yeah.
I argue about this over. I'm like, you gotta forget that it's Taco Bell for a second. I
Straight
get it.
up.
I get
No,
it.
people
like,
go into it so
the
much
mental
hate.
the mental thing of knowing Taco Bell breakfast. Exactly. Like I would say the same thing. Once you try that AM Crunchwrap, it will. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. I've argued with everyone about this.
Yeah.
Explain what's in it.
I mean,
I get the sausage one. I don't know if he gets the bacon one.
I go bacon, but then, dude, like, you know, when you get a chicken quesadilla and they have, like, the jalapeno sauce?
yes.
Yeah.
They put that in there.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so
and
good.
it has a hash brown in it. Oh, dude.
It's so good.
unreal.
No, dude,
It's
it's
actually
my
unreal.
favorite fast food breakfast. Like,
Thank you.
not
I said
even-
the same.
See,
not
thing.
even
I
close.
haven't
I don't-
tried it. I'm just very hesitant to just like
Exactly.
It's
Once you
Taco
get past
Bell,
that mental
dude,
break,
like-
I'm telling you, it is.
I'll even go as far as this. Like, every time I'm at Taco Bell, like, after a night of drinking, I'm like, I wish they just did breakfast 24/7. Like, I don't even want their real.
Really?
I don't even want
I
like.
personally think it's the best tasting thing at Taco Bell.
Yeah, I don't even want like a cheese dude gordita crunch or like a chicken. I'm like, I just want
Quesarito.
fucking AM crunch
These
wrap.
are fire.
like you're not like biting into it and be like, oh, like man, these like eggs are like fake.
You don't know they're fake.
I mean,
well, that,
but dude,
know,
so
but
is like,
thinking
But-
that. That's
okay,
what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
I mean, fast food in general is like.
yeah,
that's what I'm
It's all
saying. So
shit
like
for you
fast food,
kids.
like breakfast to me is just like even like Wendy's, like McDonald's, like even any of that stuff. It's just like,
I've been eating like shit for too long to care about that. So
I'm telling you, coming from Tom's mouth himself. Thank God someone
Yeah.
has my back.
I
on
100%
that.
agree with you. dude.
AM Crunch Wraps are so good. They are fire.
Yeah,
wow.
I don't know if I could ever just get myself.
I don't find myself getting fast food breakfast ever. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know
say-
about-
I
That's
don't
true.
I don't wake up 3 times a week and be like, oh, I gotta hit Taco Bell.
yeah, but you're explaining it like
Yeah.
that. though.
No, if it's in the area, if I'm driving past a Taco Bell and I'm like, oh, I can go for if I'm up early in the morning, like maybe before work, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll stop for an AM Crunch Wrap. Like, yeah, like,
yeah. No, that's exactly when I've
Yeah.
done it.
Really?
On like a whim.
yeah.
Oh,
All right, I'm
I
tweeting
usually-
out after this episode that Tom McGuire is gonna do a Taco Bell commercial.
Well, that's another. It's like it's also not like he basically didn't say to me like, all right, like you have me now, like you've made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's like no, like the work is in your hands.
Yeah.
But like the good thing is like if I come to him with like a presentable piece of work and I'll be like, do you think this is good enough to be like say at this club? He'll give me like his honest response, and if it is, he'll be like, let me put in a good word for you, and we'll get you an audition.
Has he like seen you live?
He's gonna see me live in January.
Where in the city?
No, probably one of the. He lives in Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Another thing that I like. He's not like
Oh,
some like
local.
pretentious like New York or like LA guy.
Yeah.
He's just like a normal, like just solid.
$3 million house, Long Island
Yeah.
guy.
He's just like a no. He is
Nah,
just
he's
like a
got
normal
an
dude.
What do you tell you? He's got an apartment in Coram, dude.
No, like it was like having a conversation like this. He was just like a normal dude. I didn't have
That's
to like
good. There's
pretend.
no ego. There's no.
Exactly. I didn't have to pretend to be anybody, and he wasn't like selling me on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Just at some high end lunch. Like, yeah, I do this all the time.
Yeah. Well, dude, that's the thing. Is like he had like a fucking like reserved table, and like his like. It was so baller. It really
Yeah.
was. It was
Dude,
like I was
that
like,
was-
this is an unbelievable flex.
You sit down like I'm in.
Yeah.
Don't say anything,
Well,
I'm in.
that was another funny thing.
Pull
is,
into the
like,
parking lot.
he said to me, he was like, you know, like I'm willing to like, because I'm hands down, not even close, his most underqualified person. Like if you looked at his list, like everyone would be like, oh, I know him, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty much like he put like $20 on black, and it's like if it hits,
If it
he's
hits,
like
it
it'll be
hits.
sick, and if it doesn't, it is what it is because I already have all my winnings. You know what I mean? But like
It's like that 3 a.m. bet that you're like, you know what? I won a lot of money tonight. Let's see what happens with this one.
You're a parlay. So you are.
He is
I'm a
very
parlay.
volatile.
Yeah.
He's a parlay.
Yeah, that's the thing is like even I was saying to my girl the other night, I was like, I cannot fucking believe like this guy even wants to represent me. I'm like a nobody in this game, and he like is literally like he's taking time to like have a lunch with me, and like Pete Davidson could be calling him, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like bizarre shit.
That's good though. Like,
Yeah, again,
that's
and like
really
the only
good.
thing I can like attest that to is just the power of prayer, man. You know what I mean? Like I could have never like scripted that or been like, oh, this is my goal. Like there's nothing.
Like he wasn't even on your radar.
I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I just got like a phone call one day from our mutual friend, and he was like, have you ever heard of this guy? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, you should Google him, and he wants to have lunch with you.
That's insane. And that goes back to what you were saying earlier about just networking, how important it is. And
Yeah, and that all happened like just from writing better jokes.
yeah, getting fun.
Again, like just control what you can control. Like you can't control the opportunities. Like I could have like tried to seek out a manager,
yeah.
and I could have accomplished it. I could have found a guy and been like, oh, this guy's great. I think he's hungry, but like, you know what I mean? But like, it's not like you just gotta let like you just gotta be like faithful and let it come to you.
You gotta let God do His work.
Exactly. Like that's another thing. So you can't be like getting in the way. Like too many people try to have like too much like control over
Yeah.
like their like life.
Yeah.
Like just control what you can control and just move forward.
Yeah. Just let life do the rest.
Yeah. Like all right, I'll tell you another story, right? So like what really like my first like big moment in stand up was winning the the Long Island Laugh Off.
Yeah.
So it's like an amateur comedy competition that Governors runs. It started off like I think like 200 people or whatever.
Damn.
And I had been doing stand up for like 6 months. And in the first round, I low-key bombed. Second round, low-key bombed. And then before the finals, I wrote that joke about going to the doctor.
Okay. So now, like, would the people vote to get you to the next round? Like, how'd that work?
There were judges for it.
Oh,
Yeah, like each
okay.
round. And I feel like that was like another thing that helped me is like everyone was doing the same material each round, and it almost looked like I had this baller joke in my back pocket
Yeah.
And you
that I
just
was
brought it
saving
out.
for the finals. But like I literally wrote it like the week before the show, and it just happened to like work.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, we'll do that. And then I just went, and then I won, and then everyone was like, who the fuck is this? Like, that's been like my whole like I'm not even gonna say career. My time doing comedy, I feel like has been a lot of like, how the fuck did you like? You know what I mean? Like, it's been a lot of that, and then people being like, I don't know, like me being like, I don't know, like it just happened.
It's like you winning that competition. Is that like so you won it at Governors, right?
Yeah.
So now are they like, all right, you won it. It's like now you come and perform here.
So that was the thing is like I got like a spot out of that,
Okay.
and then did well at the spot, and then the booker was like, you're awesome. She was like, we'll keep booking you. That was another thing is like I like after I got that show, like I texted the booker and I was like, you know, just thank you for having me, like it was great coming down. If you ever need me, like I'll be available. And she was like, oh, like you were great, like we'll definitely text you. And then I've just been there like since.
So how often do you perform?
Okay, so I'll probably perform anywhere from 1 to 5 times a week.
Really?
Yeah.
So holy wow. I
5
thought you
is
were gonna say like a month.
no. Dude, if you're
Wow.
doing stand up once a month, like you're never gonna be good at it.
Yeah. No, I thought it was gonna be like a weekly thing, but wow, 1 to 5 times a week. When's your next show? Like when are you?
So like that's another thing is like a lot of times you get booked the day of.
Oh, okay.
And then you text your friends, but not the other ones. Yeah.
Well,
Not in the
so like
circle yet, man.
which is like, yo, like that's another thing. That's like it is like the primary like first thing in my life.
Yeah.
Right? So like and this has been like something that like I've had to like talk to about like with my girlfriend. I've been like if we have dinner plans on a Friday night and they text me, like the dinner is off.
What if it's her birthday?
That's a different
That's an
Special
different.
Special occasion.
special occasion. But here's the thing is like you have to save your no's.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can't just say no because like, oh, we have a reservation at Cafe Amici.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I need to save that no for your birthday or our anniversary or Valentine's Day, like something like that, because I promise you, there's a comedian behind me who will take my spot and then hope I never get it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like you need to like solidify yourself.
So do you know when your next show is, or you're still like waiting?
I have a show like I know on the 17th. I have one on the 19th, but like this week I'm not booked for anything. By the end of this week, I could have gotten on stage 3-4 times. It all depends on like. That's another thing is like as a new comic, like you'll just like go to a show. Here's where's the camera? The worst part, the absolute worst part of comedy is this right here. Is like when you're talking to people, you're talking to like some veterans that have been doing comedy for a while, and you're like,
She can come down. Yeah.
yeah, come on. Yeah, and you're like, how do I like make it? Like, how do I get as like much stage time as possible? And they're like, if you're not on a show and there's a show, it's your responsibility to be there and hang out. So it's almost like showing up to a party that you're not invited to and then being like, yo, in case you need someone to play BP, like I'm here. You know what I mean? And everyone's like, we don't want you to play BP. That's why we didn't text you. But you're like, I know, but my dream is to play BP. So, like, I'm here. I'm here if you need. And then eventually, someone's like, yo, I don't want to play BP right now. And they're like, fine, fucking you. And then you better show out. You better show it. So I can't even tell you how many comedians I've seen get that opportunity, right? They've been hanging out. They finally get like that. You want to do a spot, and they do it, and they bomb. And they fucking eat it. And then they're like, I can't believe I'm not getting booked. I'm like, are you? Dude. It's like, you can't be this stupid. It's like, you got your shot, and you folded.
Yeah.
Like, that was not a foldable opportunity. You have to kill. That's like a non-negotiable.
Damn. So even like when you're not performing, like you're at shows.
100%. Like, even like, I said to my girlfriend one time, she was like, you know, like, why don't we like get dinner tonight? She was like, you're not even booked on a show. I'm like, I know, but I still have to be there. I'm like, I still have to be there. Just like, that's another thing is like, great thing about stand-up and the worst thing about stand-up is something that works is like having beers, hanging out with people, is just getting drunk at the club and networking and meeting people. And if you didn't like get a spot and like you come home and you smell like beer, your girl's gonna look at you like, so you didn't get on stage and your breath stinks like alcohol and we could have gotten dinner. You're like, no, but I was networking. And it's like, it's true,
what the fuck?
but it looks so bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was like, no, I was networking. No.
I mean, I
Work stuff.
that's like comedian Nate Bargatze was saying that. He came up in New York and he was like, go drink and hang out at shows. He was like, it works for me.
That's insane.
He was like, comedy is the one job where it can benefit you to get drunk and hang out, which is wild.
Now, what's like the biggest show you've done so far? Like, I guess audience wise.
So do you know who Kevin Nealon is? Do you know the guy in Happy Gilmore that's like harness the energy?
Oh yeah.
So he graduated from Sacred Heart, where I graduated from.
Yeah.
So he was my commencement speaker. And then I graduated on a Saturday, and then he had a show at Sacred Heart Theater on Tuesday. So I DM him. I'm like, dude, I just graduated like 30 minutes ago. That's how I started. I was like, I just graduated. I was like, I just saw you. Like, I'm a comic. Like, can I open up for you? Like, I just graduated. Like, it would be fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't answer me. But so then we went out that night, and then I basically drunk emailed his people. Like, me and all my buddies were like at this bar, like celebrating graduating college. And then I was like, dude, like, you never answered my DM. And Pat Billings was like, you gotta reach out to his people. So then I go on his website and I go to like contact and I see like his like public relations guy or whatever. And I basically just copy and pasted the DM and sent it to the 3 like email addresses on there.
Yeah.
And then one of them answered and they're like, Kevin said yes. So I got to perform at like Sacred Heart's, like it was a sold out theater.
That's insane.
Which was, dude, I mean, it's like the high that you get from like getting like a big laugh is great. It's one of the best feelings in the world. And like say that's from like 280 people in a club. Now like multiply that by like 4 in a theater.
Yeah.
Yo, it was wild.
That's
were
actually
you
crazy.
really nervous going into it, or
I was very nervous going. But that's another thing. Is like I'm also a big believer, like, if you're not doing things in your life where you're constantly like a little scared or like a little like about to be like, oh fuck, I gotta back out. Like, you're not taking like enough chances.
Yeah.
It's like I'll always try and like before that show where I was gonna do 30 minutes, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna have 30. Like, I'm like falling apart in the group.
Yeah.
But then like you just like fucking throw yourself on stage and you're like, well, fuck it. No one else can do your set but you, so go do it.
Yeah.
Do you remember like how you opened up for Sacred Heart and like any of that?
Well, they brought me on stage. So here's another thing: is like a host can make or break a show.
Okay.
Like if I'm a host and I go, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the always funny Joey Fowler. Like, no one's gonna be like hyped up. But like, he brought me on stage and he was like, all right, guys, like, we have a very, very special guest. He was like, this student who's opening for Kevin tonight just graduated 2 days ago. He went up to Kevin at graduation and asked him if he could do 5 minutes in front of him, and Kevin said yes. And guys, make some noise. He's freshly graduated, and they're like, "What the fuck?" Like, they're like, already, the audience is hot. Like, I could have said anything, and they would have been like, ah. You know what I mean? So, and then like I did like an actual set,
Yeah.
and did well.
Wow.
Like, and dude, like I have like the audio recording. But it's like, dude, I had it in my pocket. I was so nervous, I forgot to take my phone out of my pocket. Usually, I take my phone out, I put it on the stool,
Yeah.
get like good audio. Bro, I had it in my pocket, so like the audio's a little muffled. But like the end of the set where I'm like, all right, you guys have been great. Like, my name is just like, like, oh, it was so sick.
Did like Kevin say anything after the show or anything? Or
Yeah, he was like, I remember he just said, he was like, I'll be seeing more of you.
All right.
It's good
And
to
then
hear.
he was back in New York recently, and I reached out to his people again. I was like, I still do stand up. Like, does he need someone? And they were like, yeah, no, we're good. I was like, I'm 1 for 2. That's not bad. You know, like.
So you did
That and
you did
500.
5 minutes.
Yeah, in like 5 minutes, man. Like that's like a piece of cake. You know, like that's the first thing you like accomplish is like your first like milestone should be getting a good 5 minutes. That's like the initial length you want. Then you get like 7, then 8. Then you want like a 10, a 12, 15, 20, 25, 30, and then 45 an hour.
This Tom went from 15 to 30. He skipped a couple steps.
I did. I real quick, like, I had to. The pressure was on.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow. 5 minutes in front of like 1,000 people, I would be like shaking.
Have the mic upside down.
Yeah.
What's going on?
My name's Mom McGuire.
Yeah. Nah, but it was like, to this day, it's still the coolest show I've ever done.
We got,
I can
we got
imagine.
Hazel.
Yeah,
Hazel's going nuts right now. I'm trying to think. Yeah, like, no really, like, probably the show I just did, doing the 30 was cool. I guess the winning the Long Island Laugh Off, that set was fun. That's pretty much it though. Like no really like crazy like milestone like other moments like that.
I know, like before we started filming, we were talking off camera, and you're like, "I'll drop something on the pod." Was it Pete Davidson?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Because I just went I just followed my manager on Instagram. He didn't follow me back. I'm so upset. Yeah, he didn't follow me back.
He's dropping.
I know, bro. My heart is broken. Next time I have lunch with him, I'm like, take your phone out and follow me. Like, I can't be telling people you represent me. Don't even follow me back.
I need your view
Yeah.
on my clip that I just posted.
So I click on his profile, and like I realized like his bio like changed, and like I realized the name Pete Davidson was in there. I was like,
That's insane.
I was like, yo, and I'm actually like a Pete Davidson fan. Like, I like Pete.
Yeah.
He's funny.
I think he's funny. I think like,
He's got W Riz.
oh my god, he's the king. He's the king. Like, yeah.
I
I
guess
wonder
just
what
being funny is
I wonder what his next
where you
movie
get that
is.
from.
It's he's like, it's like a documentary or something about like Joey Ramone, I think. I don't even know who it is.
We're getting the inside scoop.
know.
He knows everything about
Well,
Pete
his
Davidson.
movie, I don't know if
This is all on the
that's
internet. You can
movie.
Google this. That's how I know I'm not like ruining anything right now. You can Google like Pete Davidson's next movie. It'll say like,
Tom gets a
He's gonna
call
get
from
called-
his
yeah.
manager. Are you kidding me?
yeah, he'd be like Tom. He'd be like, I barely know you. You're my most underqualified person that I represent. He's like, I don't even know why I'm repping you, to be honest. He'd be like, now this is done.
Yeah, I know his last. I don't know if his last movie. One of his most recent movies, like King of Staten Island. You said.
Yeah, yeah. Great movie.
That was actually hilarious.
That had
Like,
so
it was
many-
So funny. in
That had so many comics in it too.
Really?
So many. Like a lot of comics that like, if you're in the scene, like but like
yeah.
people at home probably
Yeah,
wouldn't.
we wouldn't.
So it's cool that like Pete gave him like that opportunity to just like be in the movie. Like that's another thing is like when I start to like audition at these big clubs and stuff like that, like I'm gonna be like one of the few guys that like doesn't have like a big credit. If I do end up at that point soon, I don't have like a big credit. I can't be like, oh, you've seen me on Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Like nothing like that. Whereas like a lot of guys like they have like that thing to
Yeah.
attach with their name.
So you and Pete Davidson are gonna be boys soon?
I don't know.
You're like, I hope so.
His sister went to Marist.
Really?
I didn't.
Did I say you did? Or are you Pete Davidson's sister?
I could be. So you have any favorite comedians right now that you're just like really into, like mainstream guys that we would?
So like the mainstream guys like Chappelle, Bill Burr, Sebastian. Although I didn't like his special that he just dropped today.
I didn't watch it yet.
I wasn't
but
a fan.
He's probably
It's not. It's not nearly as good as like, dude. I have a theory. He's either high or he's like, or he's sick, because he doesn't have like that same energy he usually has, and his eyes are all red.
Could be.
Very
He might be.
strange.
He might be sick.
I think he was sick. I really do. I think he was sick, and like he
Was-
just
So
couldn't.
you watched the whole new special he just dropped?
Yeah,
was-
and I saw it live at the Garden.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I saw it
yeah.
live at the
That's
Garden
cool.
like
Yeah, I went
a
to
couple
that.
months ago, and it had like it was so much better than a Netflix special, in my opinion.
Because I saw he posted like a YouTube short before. I guess it was off the Netflix special. When he's talking about the alarm goes off with
Yeah,
his
yeah.
wife. I thought that was funny.
Yeah,
I
that was pretty
laughing
funny.
at that.
So did he cut out like a bunch of good things that you thought were good jokes for?
No, I think
Netflix?
it was the same material. I mean, they definitely like made edits. Like I feel like there was like a joke that I loved when I saw him at the Garden that like wasn't in there, and like I couldn't remember what it was.
If you'd say like who was your biggest inspiration for like comedy? Like was it a comedian?
Yeah, so like Sebastian was the first guy I started watching.
Okay.
Like, aren't you embarrassed? Why would you do that? Like,
Those are good.
what's wrong with people? Like, those are like three of the best specials like ever,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So like I was watching him, then literally in Joey Carrillo's basement, like
Mhm.
watching every single Bill Burr, and like
Bill Burr.
that's when I was like, yo, I didn't know anyone could be this funny. Was
Yeah.
like Bill Burr. Bill Burr opens one of his specials. He opens one special being like, I want to get a gun. That's his opening line. That's
And-
just wild. That's a wild opening.
The funny thing is, him saying that is almost making me like thinking about him saying that is almost making me laugh now.
Yeah,
He can
like,
fucking say
literally.
anything, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a good one.
Then he has another joke where he's talking about like how kids are getting fat. He's like, you know, his parents are just keeping their kids inside and they're just feeding them and feeding them, getting fatter and fatter. He's like, they're trying to make them unfuckable. He's talking about like,
I've seen that.
oh,
clip, bro.
dude, that line, I'll never forget hearing that shit for the first time. And then
Dude,
like
funny.
Chappelle is just like, he's just like a mastermind.
Mhm.
It's like, he might not be like the absolute like funniest guy in the world, but like everything he does is just like, it's like Shakespeare is speaking to you. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
the message is always there. Like his analogies are. It's like he's like I watch his stand up. I'm like this guy's on another level. Kevin Hart's
good. Yeah.
Kevin Hart's early stuff, man.
Dude.
Bill,
Oh
Bill
my
Burr
God.
was in
Oh.
that Staten Island movie with
Yeah.
Davidson.
Yeah.
He had a good part in that.
That's the thing. Yeah, I'm sitting at lunch with the manager, and I'm like, he's asking me like, oh, who do you like? I'm like, I love Bill Burr. He's like, great dude. He's like, very great dude. I'm like, what? You know, like,
And he fully paid for the lunch, right?
oh, I didn't even offer money. I was like, that's another. I was thinking about writing a joke about that actually. I was like, should I offer money here? Like, is he gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just came from a dog grooming shop where I work, like making $17 an hour. Like, yeah, like I felt weird, like even off. I feel like he would have been like, come on, like what do you think this is?
Yeah, I think that. It's like, I don't know. I guess you could say like the whole manager thing, but like, what's like what you didn't expect? Like something that comedy brought to you that you didn't expect to happen.
I would say like when I was in high school, like I identified like as a basketball player. Like that was like
It's
not-
true though.
yeah.
No, it's
no,
true.
but like
It is.
everything like
Yeah.
I could look at my life and be like, all right, like everything sort of points to being.
And that's what other people defined you as. They're like, oh, I know Tom. He plays basketball.
Yeah.
You know?
And then, like, I sort of lost that. Like, that's the thing is, like, when I quit basketball, then I was kind of like, that was, like, the weird part of my life. Was, like, that for year and a half, like, I got fat. Like, I didn't, like, know what I was doing. Like, I was getting a degree, but, like, I knew I didn't really want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, I didn't know
We've all
comedy
been
would
there.
give me, like, that, like, fulfillment. That I didn't know. I didn't know that it would actually make me feel like, what's the right word? It made me actually feel like the person that I'm supposed to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, as much as I love basketball, I was not, like, put on earth to
Yeah.
be a basketball player. Like, it's very obvious,
Yeah.
you know?
For very obvious reasons.
You know? But, like, I feel like when I'm doing stand-up, I'm like, I feel like I could be, like, doing something positive in the world. Like, it's a very selfish thing to do. You're on stage getting laughs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you look at it that way, it's extremely selfish. But then also, it's like, you're also serving people,
Yeah.
which I like. Like, you're making people feel good.
Yeah, like you said, like when people come up to you after a show, like, oh, I needed that.
Yeah.
That's not selfish at all. Like,
Mhm.
you're actually helping people in a way.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that's like, I didn't know that it was going to do that for me. I didn't know that it was going to give me, like, that, like, feeling. That I didn't. I just thought it'd be like, oh, it would be fun.
Yeah.
And then just, like, through doing it and, like, really, like, becoming, like, going, like, all in.
Mhm.
But, like, you know, like, I would say, like, all in is, like, I have a finance degree framed, hanging up in my bedroom, and I work at a dog grooming shop. And that's because I'm all in on stand-up. That's because I know, like, as soon as I get that finance job where I'm working, like, 55, 60 hours a week, I can guarantee you I won't write a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I'm working 30 hours a week, like, my stand-up can be, like, sharp and fresh. So, like, yeah, I think, like, that's pretty much, for me, being, like, all in.
Yeah.
Is, like, graduating and everyone was getting jobs, and I was like, yeah, I don't want one. Even my mom was like, come on. Like, you know, like,
I know the pain, but I actually have a job now, so
what do you do now?
I work in the accounting department at a construction company.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
Not fun.
Very nice.
I'm the construction worker.
Oh, really?
Not the
in
same company.
Oh, okay.
Just do that kind of work. It's like, I wish I could find that thing. Like, you have stand-up's that thing for you. I wish that I knew what I wanted, or not that I knew what I wanted, because it just came out of nowhere for you. But it's hard to.
I think it happens
you
with
know,
a lot of people. Like,
It does. It does.
Like, just not knowing.
You just
not
end up-
finding something that, like, going back, like, you were a basketball player, like us. I mean, you played every sport. You played basketball and baseball, but as baseball players, I think that same void is something to be filled.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm also, like, a big believer in, like I'm, like, a pretty, like, like, you know how people will be like, oh, like, I'm plant-based, and, like, defines them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I fucking hate that shit. It's like,
Yeah.
yo, if your diet is the most important thing in your life, like, you're not. Good luck. You know what I mean? Like, if your whole thing is, like, tofu and eating greens,
Yeah.
best of luck. But, like, me, like, at, like, my core, and, like, no one would ever really, like, think this because of, like, how I am, like, on the outside. But, like, at my core, like, I am, like, very, like, a faith-based person. Like, I pray a lot. Like, don't necessarily, like, go to, like, church as much as I should, but, like, definitely, like, pray a lot, and faith is, like, the biggest part of my life.
Okay.
And, like, it says in the Bible, like, your gift will always make room for you. And, like, everyone has a gift, and it's the thing that you do best with, like, the least amount of effort. And for me, like, I think I'm pretty confident it's stand-up. I think.
Okay.
I could be like 3 years from now and be like, oh, it wasn't stand-up. It's actually this. I think it's
Yeah.
stand-up. You never really, like, know.
I mean, you're definitely going down the right path.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
I was
like,
it wasn't stand-up. It's actually wealth management.
yeah, but look, it's like, it is, like, undeniable that Steph Curry's gift is shooting a basketball. Like, that's not
Yeah.
even quite. It's not, like, Stephen A. Smith is, like, just ranting about sports. Like, those are people that are, like, living in their gift. And I think, like, that's, like, when you're, like, living the life you're supposed to live. Is living, like, in your gift. Like, what you're, like, gifted at. That will, like, constantly make room for what you're doing.
No, that's
I like that.
And that's how, like, the opportunities, like, find you. When, like,
I mean, when you're doing something you love, it doesn't feel like work.
yeah, no, never. It's like, dude, if I mean, like, I'll make money doing stand-up, Like if I host a show, I'll get like $75, but like
Yeah.
I'm not making a living off of it.
It's better than
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, but like if I was making a living doing stand up, I'd be like, I don't have a job. Like,
Well,
if
you're not making a
Yeah.
living yet.
yeah, hopefully one day.
Yeah.
The goal, honestly, like my goal is to like build like a social media following and then just like go on tour. Like just like
Sick.
go to my people. Like
that would be crazy.
my focus isn't necessarily being like, oh, I gotta be like passed at all these clubs in the city. Although I would love to be.
Mhm.
I would love to be like, I don't necessarily want to move to the city. I'm not like a city guy,
Yeah.
which like as a comedian, man, like you either pick LA or New York
Mm-hmm.
or Austin. Austin's starting to become like, as soon as Rogan opens his
Really?
club,
You ever been there?
Joe Rogan, one time, yeah,
Ooh.
but not for stand up.
Me neither. But
It is so cool.
It's
though, dude.
it is.
It's a great little city.
Did you go to 6th Street?
Yeah,
And what's the other one? Rainy Street, I think it is.
yeah, Sixth and Rainy.
Dude,
So much fun.
Dude.
David has a little tattoo story from
Do you really?
I
Austin.
did, yeah, I have one.
You're
I have,
tatted up from Austin.
I have one tattoo.
Sure, I don't know if he could. pull
I
it
can't.
up.
I can't. I'm not, I'll show you after this. But I went. So I wasn't even supposed to go on this trip. It was Rob DeToma, Rob Free, and then our friend Sam from College Hunks. And this was like right after my breakup, so I was depressed. I
Okay.
fucking just going to the gym with Tommy all the time, and I'm literally in the gym, and this kid hits me up. He's like, "You want to go to Texas next week?" I'm like, I mean, I can't get off work. Obviously, I still worked at College Hunks at the time. This kid he wasn't like a manager or anything, but like he could pull some strings. So he's like,
Okay.
I'll get you off.
Oh,
was
that's
like-
fucking
I
awesome.
was like, all right. He's like, what days do you need off? So I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And I look at Tommy. I'm like, should I go? He's like, yeah, fuck it. Just go. So I end up going. First day there, we fly in.
Yeah, Dave's like, I got AIDS.
We first
Came home
first
with a
day,
tattoo.
dude, it could have been a really bad trip. There's another story. I won't even say it on here. But first day there, we fly in on a Sunday. We get there like 10 a.m., put our shit away, immediately go out. We go to Rainy Street because it was popping. It was Sunday. It was popping there. And we're at this one bar, and we meet this group of girls, and we're just talking to them. And like 4 or 5 of them went to University of Texas. A couple of them already graduated. And when you graduate, you get the Longhorn as a tattoo.
Okay.
So they're all showing us their tattoos of the Longhorn, and we're drunk. So I look at my friends. I'm like, "Yo, guys, we're getting that tattoo later." They're like,
Oh,
"Okay,
yo,
whatever."
that's not a bad idea. Because then you could be like with all those, people at those bars and be like, yo, like Longhorns for life.
Yeah. So they leave that.
And then you could be
bar.
like, I'm moving to New York. I'm pursuing my dream. I'm going to New York. And some girl will be like, oh my God. Like, yeah.
So they leave. We were talking to them for a while. They leave, and we're like leaving that bar, trying out other ones. They're not as popping as the one we were at. So we end up leaving, and then we're going back towards our Airbnb. I'm like, guys, let's fucking go. Like, did you ride the scooters around town? I was
Yeah.
like-
No,
so-
dude, and honestly, looking back, like, was definitely drunk doing
Oh,
that.
dude, not
And
smart
not
at all.
On main roads, no less.
Yeah,
Like,
like
picture
almost.
like on like the shoulder of the LIE.
yeah, not even joking.
Yeah.
like actually,
It's like all of a sudden you make a right and you're like on an exit
you're
ramp.
yeah, it's fucking it's
Yeah, no,
wild.
It is wild.
It is wild. So we hop on the scooters and we're just darting back towards our place. Find a tattoo place. Me, Rob Free, and the kid Sam go in, and we're like, this is what we want. The guy's like, all right. I'm like, make mine a little smaller than theirs.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a decent size, but it's not.
You did get it?
Yeah. So we get in the tattoo place, right? And I've known Rob DeToma since I was like 8 years old. So he knows my parents. He's like he's tight with my family. So he's like, your mom's gonna kill me if you get this. Like, don't do it. I'm drunk. So I'm like, no, I'm getting it. He's like, please don't. So he FaceTimes my sister. He's like, I can't get him to not get it. And so I'm talking to my sister. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting this. So they bring us in. I fucking lay down on this table. I was basically, I have a video. I was basically asleep on this fucking table, getting a fucking Longhorn on my leg. Long story short, we all get the tattoo. We end up going out later that night on 6th Street, and we're just in a random bar. Same group of girls walks in. We're like, no fucking way. We show them the tattoo. They're like, you guys fucking got the tattoo. What is wrong
Oh wow.
Yeah, I picked him up at
So-
the airport after that trip. I heard all these. I was in shock. I thought they were lying about all these
Mhm.
stories.
Yeah, it was and that was like I didn't really drink before that trip.
Yeah, no, I remember
and
you were always a very
I
sober guy.
had maybe drank like what 4 or 5 times.
David came, I
if
picked him
that.
up at like midnight from the airport. He's like, "Oh, we going to Patchogue?" And
yeah,
I'm like,
he's got a longhorn tattoo. And,
I had a Longhorn tattoo. I had
I'm
bro.
like, what
I
the hell happened?
Yeah.
I
What'd you
blacked out
do?
once on that trip. It was fucking.
he's got boots
Bad.
on and a cowboy hat.
I had a cowboy hat on. Not even kidding. I had my cowboy hat and somebody else had theirs. Literally, I couldn't fit it in my bag. It wasn't going in my fucking backpack.
You
So
wore
I
it
had
on the plane.
I had a normal hat and I had the fucking cowboy hat on top of it. And I wore it on the plane. I think I put it on the seat next to me on the plane 'cause there's a bunch of empty seats. But yeah, I ended up I was there for 5 days. I went skydiving in the first 24 hours too.
I'm actually, dude. I'm like a big. If I was like extremely depressed,
and I was.
yeah, did it help? Because I have a theory that it would.
The trip definitely helped. I wouldn't say just skydiving in general, just the trip in general, because it's something that I had never really done before. Like I had gone out of the state, but it was like I'd go to with my family to Florida, shit like that. Like I had never really gone on a trip with the boys,
Mhm.
like something of this magnitude. So it was really just like I got out of my comfort zone. I did a bunch of shit that I usually don't do: skydiving, tattoo, drinking, like of age too. I was 22 at the time, so. But I mean, the trip definitely it helped, man. It's fucking insane. Not a lot of people want to fucking do it, and like I try to get like them or like
That's
my
one
friends
thing I
Yeah.
can't
to
do.
go
I can't
go
Like-
here or something, and nobody wants to do it. But it was thrilling.
You just reminded me, like, when I was like depressed, like post basketball, like my dad had just died, like that was like my like rough patch of my life. Like the way like I built myself back up was like through running. That was like the first thing I did. Was like I'd be like, remember the first time I went, I was like I was fat. I was like, I cannot believe like, because like you're an athlete your whole life. You're like, I'll just never get fat. I can eat whatever I
Yeah.
want. Like I was eating like Chick-fil-A like 3 times a week, and like all of a sudden I was like, I went from being like 165 pounds to like 205.
Jesus.
Like I just blew up. So then, like I went out on a run. I ran like 3/4 of a mile and felt like I was gonna like collapse. And then like eventually like worked myself up to running like a half marathon.
That's
and then-
awesome.
Half marathon, really?
Yeah,
Wow,
that was
that's
like my
amazing.
first like little victory where
That's
I could be
crazy.
like, all right, like I can like do something with my life isn't like over.
Yeah.
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 That's where I was like, all right, I can, do. But then actually after that, I was like, because I had taken time off from stand up, like when COVID hit. After like I had like built myself back up with running and then like went to like therapy and shit like that, I was like, I hope I'm still funny. Like I hope I didn't like lose that by like fixing myself, because a lot of comedians are like broken people.
Yeah.
Comedians are always like, there's always something wrong
Yeah.
with the you're doing like everyone's doing comedy like for a reason. Some people for the right reason, some people for the wrong reason. But everyone's doing. No one comes from like complete normalcy and is then like, oh, I want to do stand up. Like everyone usually has like a bizarre story in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I was afraid. I was like, oh, I hope like I still have that thing. But that was like a big fear of mine for a while. But yeah, no, but running was like the thing that because I think it's like doing something big like that is like the key of getting out of like a rut.
I could see why some people get like obsessed with skydiving.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, it was fucking thrilling, and
Like how
I
did you
got-
feel when you landed?
I felt like a fucking $1,000,000. I did
That's
land
what
on
I'm
my.
saying.
I did
This
land.
guy was depressed on the
Yeah,
way up,
dude,
and he
it
came
was-
down.
So there was.
Longhorn.
Yeah, he's got a hat on, like it's like a new boy.
So I got like I want to say he was like a crazy instructor or whatever, like the guy that I was tandemed with. But he was like he was wild is what I'll say. Like he didn't give a shit. So we're like I'm putting my suit on, I'm getting like everything all ready, and he looks at my friends and he's like, so should I give him the wild ride or just the normal? And they go, oh, give him the fucking wild ride. He needs it. I'm like, what
Damn.
the fuck does that mean? And like he doesn't even fucking say what that means. So we get up in the plane, and it is a little like nerve wracking when you're in the plane and you're getting up. Like you have the little gauge on your wrist. Like you know you're going to 14,000 feet. That's what we jumped at, and like you can keep looking. You're like 11,000 feet. This is gonna be soon.
like-
Then they open
Oh
the
my
door.
God. I don't think I don't have it in me, man.
They
to
o-
be honest.
They open the door, right? So now the door is fucking wide open. You're just sitting there. You have like I don't even think you have a seatbelt on at this point when you're that high. And you're like 12,000, 13,000. You're like, oh shit, this is probably
Doesn't
gonna happen
matter,
in
you're
like a
about to
minute.
jump out.
Yeah, it's like this is probably gonna happen in like a minute, right? And so we get to the edge, and everybody's instructor's like telling them how to jump or whatever, or like where to stand. And so I'm like, all right, I'll just follow what they're all doing. He's like, no, get all. So I get up there. He's like, no, get all the way to the edge. So I get all the way to the fucking edge. I'm staring at him like, holy shit, I'm about to fucking do this, right? Everybody else, you just kind of like barrel roll out. We do a front flip out of the fucking plane. Tom, I am staring for half a second. I'm staring at the bottom of the plane. I'm like, what did I get myself into? Right? So then free fall, it's just normal for most people, right? You just go down. This guy's fucking spinning us in circles like this for like 10 seconds. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with my life right now? And they tell you when before you jump, they're like, make sure you breathe. And if you think you're going to like stop breathing, like just scream. Nobody can hear you when you're up there. You're fucking flying down at however fast. Like you can't even hear yourself. So I'm like,
oh, really?
So I'm screaming. I'm like, holy fuck, this is insane. But like, I can't even hear that it's coming. I just know that's what I'm saying. And so I got to hold the reins for a little bit too and like guide us for like, I don't know, it was like 30 seconds or whatever.
I just can't.
I pulled the chute.
It's wild.
Yeah. Rob Free actually got to land his. So
Really?
like, yeah, so my guy took the reins back, like he's holding on, like he's guiding us or whatever. Rob Free held them the whole time and did it for the landing. And I think he landed on his feet too. So I watched a guy snap his ankle too.
Oh, oof.
He was doing it alone.
So was there any point, like while you were in the air, what did you like feel a change in like fear to like euphoria?
Yeah, 100%.
And was it like instant, like you felt like healed?
I definitely didn't feel healed because the healing process of what I went through was a long fucking time. So I definitely didn't just go from, yeah, I'm fucking depressed to, oh my God, I have a new, like, it definitely wasn't like that. But like I went up there kind of not giving a fuck, but at the same time, like you're jumping out of a plane at 15,000 feet. Like you're a little fucking, you're scared. You're like, holy shit, what if the parachute malfunctions, whatever. So when you're getting up there, you're like nervous as fuck. And then once you jump, you're like, I mean, I'm already in this shit. Like, fuck it. And you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. It felt euphoric, like you said. It was just fucking, it was crazy. Also, I didn't mention it, but my parachute did malfunction a little bit.
Oh, really?
It got twisted for like half a second, and he just like tugged on it and got it free.
Oh, like he didn't even panic. He just
No, I didn't even know until we were like floating
He's
down.
like, we're almost fucked up there, buddy.
Yeah, we're floating down. He goes, yeah, and he was Australian too, so he said in his accent, he's like, yeah, we kind of malfunctioned a little bit there, and I untwisted the line. I was like, kind of wish you didn't, but no, not actually. But
Dude, if I would have heard that you got in a skydiving accident and died, I would have been like, what a month for David Howard. I would have been like, wow.
What a month.
What an ending to a story.
Now he's selling feet pics on
Yeah.
yeah, if I would have fucking died in that, they would have been like, so we got tattoos and then jumped out of a plane. And it's a wild trip. I almost fell off a 5-story balcony too. It was a fucking wild trip for me.
That does. Hello, Hazel. That does sound pretty fucking wild. Now, was that like after that, like, did you see like increases in like terms of like your like well-being? Like, would you? Yeah.
Definitely.
See, it's crazy how like one thing like that can sort of kickstart it.
There was one thing that happened like right before the trip that I'm not gonna get into the whole because it was about the break or whatever. I'm not going to get into any of that on the fucking podcast, but
on Go Talk.
that like little thing kind of gave me a bump up, and then the whole trip just like kind of put me on a trajectory like this. And I was still dealing with it for another like 6-7 months, like the whole thing. But it was kind of just like you said, like my life was starting to trend in an upward way. I had a good September too. I'll tell you about that after the pod.
A good September.
A good day in September. We'll put it at that.
All right.
Wrapping it up.
You guys have anything else you want to ask? You want to add? You got questions for us? You want to throw anything out there?
Anything you want to plug? Anything? Whatever you want
I
to
have
do.
nothing to plug. I have like no.
I'm gonna put I'll put your socials and stuff in the description.
Yeah, just
and
my
everything,
Instagram, I guess. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah.
I had a good
Dude,
time.
thanks for coming.
No, dude, this is dope.
I wish we had like merch here that we could just like give merch. Like,
Yeah, I do my
Here,
next
have
show
my
on, like,
leg.
Go Talk.
yeah, like, that'd be sick.
I
I'd be so
mean,
happy.
I know we covered your whole like stand up. I was gonna say career, but before you're like, I wouldn't even call it a career. I don't know what the fuck to say. So everything about stand up with you. But if you ever want to come on again and just talk whatever, man, like
Yeah, to.
Well,
Yeah,
we're
I mean-
glad to have you on.
Always
Glad to
Well,
have
how about
another
this? How
face
about
on
I'll
here.
end the episode with this. Let me talk about my fantasy football team.
No.
They're falling
Oh
apart.
God. Oh,
Dude, I was in first, like running away with the league. Okay, I have Josh Allen.
Goat.
Okay.
That's his boy right
Goat.
there.
Dude, I've had so many. Right, Brees Hall.
oof.
Oh, Brees Hall's a stud.
I had Clyde Edwards-Helaire when he
Yeah.
was good
Well,
initially.
yeah.
I had James Robinson when he was good
I have-
initially.
Yeah.
I then I have ETN.
That's been a
I have ETN.
Okay.
I have Jeff Wilson, who's been solid. Cooper Kupp,
That sucks.
who went down.
oh my.
Tyler Lockett. Debo Samuel, who's just been a disappointment.
He has.
I took him in the second round too.
That's
He's
rough.
A fucking
Wow.
loser.
That's rough.
He's horrible. Like Debo, if you're watching, I apologize. Probably a really good guy. I'm now 7-5. It's been a rough.
Well, YouTube short that.
Yeah, no, Debo, you're the man. But and then dude, Zach Ertz,
Oh,
another
God.
guy that
Yeah.
went
He was
down.
crushing
Justin
That
had
was
it.
good.
Dude, I know, bro. I
I
was
named my team after him.
Yeah.
If you see up, no, I didn't have it written up there, but my balls.
We'll
Zach
show you our
Ertz
league
was-
after
What's my
this.
Dude.
team name?
I mean, if I had those three guys still,
Yeah.
I would have ran away with this league.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have even been close.
It's tough.
Fucking blows.
Fantasy sucks sometimes, man.
And dude, like I'm the only team that has had like the three big injuries have all been on my team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We had two teams in our main league, and one of them is now 2-11. The other's 1-12, and their teams got riddled with injuries. Like Brees Hall, who else was on their teams?
I mean,
Marquise Goodwin.
Mark Manger's entire team at one point. I think he had
Yeah.
like 8 injuries
I mean,
one week.
I mean, dude,
Marquise
even
Brown, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Marquise Goodwin. I'm a fucking moron.
who's
Marquise Brown.
Jonathan Taylor? Everyone took him one,
Yeah.
and he's
Dude.
like,
So
he's not having
we're
the year he had.
we're
last
in
year.
we're in a keeper league. So Jonathan Taylor was 2 years ago drafted in the third round. So they kept him in the third round.
Come on, man.
And then they kept him in the second round. So I had the first pick this year. So I didn't even get to
Yeah,
try to
it
take him.
Worked out.
I got Eckler. So
No.
it works out. It worked out great. And I was gonna take McCaffrey, and then right before our draft, the person who had McCaffrey last year was like, "I'm gonna keep McCaffrey in the first round at pick 6." It's like, well, that makes my pick easier. I'm taking Eckler.
Yeah.
That definitely worked out.
Yeah. I mean, dude. I mean, even Josh Allen with that UCL
Yeah.
has been like,
Still a goat.
he's still a beast, but like not in terms of points anymore. You know, like I love Josh Allen, but fuck, man. I mean,
And
now it's like every week I'm like, do I start Tua? Do I start Josh Allen?
I'd still.
But,
go
dude,
Josh.
for a while Tua was slinging it.
Yeah, he was. He was.
fuck Tua.
Yeah.
Fuck Tua.
You're,
Fuck
you guys are
Josh Allen.
biased.
Let me look at my team real quick. I'll pull this thing up. It's a fucking shame.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in 3
play
leagues.
on-
2 of my leagues, I
on
have
NFL.
I have a chance to win it all.
We
So.
play on
NFL.
sleeper.
Yeah.
Wow. That's actually, I think, the one app I've never used for fantasy.
Yeah,
Same.
me either.
Real.
And all 3 of my leagues are different. I have ESPN, Yahoo, and Sleeper. All 3 different leagues.
Dude, my tight end gets
Sleeper
hurt.
Yahoo.
My tight end either gets hurt every week, has a fat 0, or leaves the game early.
Yep.
Like I've had Zach Ertz, and then I picked up Josh Johnson. I pick him up hurt first play of the game, 0 points. Then I pick up Hayden Hurst. He's doubtful this week.
Yeah.
I just can't win with the
Yeah,
fucking tight end.
ends always screw me.
The
Ah,
thing,
dude.
we're realizing it now, but once you get past Kelsey and maybe Mark Andrews, not even like the second half Mark Andrews, but
Kelsey's like 40 points ahead
there,
of Mark.
Yeah, I mean,
there
there's
is
gotta be-
no reason to take a tight end until like you took Ertz in like round 8.
Yeah, something.
There's
Yeah,
no
I
reason to
took him late,
take.
too.
Yeah.
There's no reason to take those middle of the pack guys because you could get somebody so much more valuable than getting
Yeah.
a tight end that's gonna get you 9 points.
You could waiver
Dude.
wire a tight end every week like it's a defense.
You can.
Like,
And then, dude, like I was close. Like in the beginning of the year, I was close to getting rid of ETN.
Dude, I tried to package him and James Robinson for other players. Nobody that I talked to wanted it, and then ETN got the starting job, and I was like,
and he
you
started
could have,
eating.
yeah.
dude. I literally was gonna offer this kid ETN and James Robinson for Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Zeke.
Yeah, I
And
mean, dude,
imagine
I
if
mean,
I did
and
that
also,
trade.
Like the Chiefs running back situation, it's like, yo, pick a guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so frustrating to be dealing with Hilaire, Pacheco, McKinnon. It's like, guys, I can't
Like the
start any of these
49ers.
guys.
The
49ers are the
always have a
worst.
committee of running
Yeah,
backs.
I know.
Not anymore,
Well,
but
Well, now they have
yes.
McCaffrey.
Now they
Yeah,
have
well,
McCaffrey,
yeah, not anymore because they traded for McCaffrey. But even with McCaffrey, sometimes like he'll play like a couple weeks ago, he played like 40% of snaps. Like
The
it-
Dolphins are starting to do that. They're starting to use committee.
Yeah, I know.
A lot
Dude,
of
it's like
teams are
Jeff
going
Wilson
that
was
way.
eating for a little bit.
Broncos are going
Yeah.
to start doing that because Javante got hurt.
We're looking at it becoming way more valuable to get wide receivers early than running backs now.
Yeah.
Like,
Unless
But
you're
wide
getting
receivers
one
are
of
just
those.
so
like you look at a team like Nick Lopez, right? He drafts Devontae Adams first round, Tyreek
Yeah.
Hill second round. The kid's fucking 10-3 or
Did
not.
someone take Najee Harris with the first pick?
That's his other league.
Yeah.
But
we're the-
yes.
our
Keep-
league's the
keeper
bottom
league.
one.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I took Najee with the second pick.
He took him second in our
Harrison
actual league.
Harrison took I mean,
All right, you know
again,
what?
It's 12 teams. Each team has two
Let's wrap
keepers.
this up and then
Okay.
we can-
So immediately you got 24 players off the board.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
I
we'll
mean,
show you some nice.
not
keepers,
gonna
too.
try to stick up for my pick because Najee's a bum.
I mean, it
No,
was-
dude, it's just the Steelers.
He's a bum.
It's just the Steelers offense,
You're a
man.
Steelers fan.
All right, we'll
right,
we can get into this after, but I think we're gonna end it there.
Yeah.
Um,
Tom, thank you for
No,
coming
my-
on again,
my
dude.
of course,
It's
thank
been
you
fun.
very much.
Fun.
we got it. Let
The
us
first
know.
time I've ever been on a podcast.
Make it- make- yeah.
Milestone. It's a milestone for me right
Yeah,
there.
there
Let's
you
go.
And now make it a
We're gonna-
point to make sure to let us know when your next show is. so
I
we can
will.
actually
And
come
I won't
support you,
rely on
alright?
someone else to remind you. I'll directly
At
text
least
you.
one of us, and then I'm
Yeah.
relying on one of you guys to let me know.
I gotta get you. Some
Well, that's the thing
merch.
is now he's seen all my material.
He's
So
still
if he
gonna
comes to a
come.
show, it's all
I
repeats.
still want to
Yeah.
go though.
Yeah.
I was still cracking up nonstop.
Yeah.
Wow.
I definitely. I gotta get you some merch. I'll get you
Alright.
whatever you want. A shirt, sweatshirt, whatever you want. I
Sounds
got you.
good.
I'll get you some merch.
All right.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for the pod. Hope you guys enjoyed. You know, socials, everything will be in the description below. I'm gonna put Tom's down there too. Yeah.
Local, go check him out.
Yes, sir.
Governor's
Yeah.
Club, he performs that a lot, I believe.
I'll be somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll post on social. Maybe if we're going to a show,
I got a
we'll
clip going viral right now.
post it on social media.
Dude, it was going crazy for a while. I was at work. It was like every time I checked, it was like another 1,000, and then
Yeah.
it just peaked. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
All right, guys. Deuces.
Peace.
Go Bills. Yeah, dude.